12 days war in Iran didn't just test Israel. And America's missile shield takes a direct hit. 150 THAAD interceptors are gone in 12 days. A quarter of the US stockpile depleted. As allies call and rivals watch, is America ready for the next strike? This is VERTEX and the war that exposed a silent vulnerability. The United States blew through about a quarter of its supply of high-end THAAD missile interceptors during Israel's 12-day war with Iran in June. According to a CNN report citing two sources familiar with the operation, in the 12-day war between Israel and Iran, US forces fired between 100 and 150 THAAD interceptors, a system designed to shoot down incoming ballistic missiles. That's nearly a quarter of America's entire THAAD arsenal.
U.S. forces countered Tehran's barrage of ballistic missiles by firing more than 100 THAADs, also known as Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, and possibly as many as 150, a significant portion of America's stockpile of the Advanced Air Defense System.
The U.S. has 7 THAAD systems and used 2 of them in the Israel conflict. U.S. interceptor stockpile concerns preceded the 12-day war, according to 4 former senior U.S. defense officials who say that the problem is most acute in inventories of high-end interceptors that are a key part of deterrence against China.
What I can say without giving any numbers is I was surprised at how low some of the levels of readiness were. Stockpiles are dropping. We need more. We need them faster than they are being built.
Using so many THAAD interceptors in such a short period exposed a gap in the US missile defense network and depleted a costly asset at a moment when American public support for Israeli defense has reached historic lows. Former US defense officials and missile experts told CNN that the rapid drawdown has also raised concerns about America's global security posture and ability to regenerate supplies at speed. But experts and former defense officials warned that supplies need to be ramped up significantly to deal with the shortfall. A missile defense expert who has been tracking the US government's expenditure said,
"It is important to recognize the level of commitment and the level of expenditure here in defense of Israel is significant. The reports about THAAD expenditure are concerning. This is not the sort of thing that the US can afford to continue to do on and on. It was a major commitment to our Israeli ally, but missile defense interceptor capacity is definitely a concern, and THAAD is a very scarce resource."
Even inside the Pentagon, calls are growing louder for action. A senior retired US Army officer who asked not to be named said around 25% of THAAD's total inventory was used by US forces in Israel participating in the war effort.
The Department of Defense is looking at wartime stockage levels of critical munitions and attempting to significantly increase annual production capacity, an effort that is long overdue.
Mara Karlin, former US Assistant Secretary of Defense for Strategy, Plans and Capabilities under the Biden administration, said,
"Air defense is relevant in all of the major theaters right now. And there's not enough systems, there's not enough interceptors, there's not enough production, and there are not enough people working on it. You have the challenge of something being both incredibly relevant and also there's a dearth of them."
In response to CNN's questions on the depleted stockpile, Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson dismissed the criticism.
"The U.S. military is the strongest it has ever been and has everything it needs to conduct any mission, anywhere, anytime, all around the world. If you need further proof, look no further than Operation Midnight Hammer and the total obliteration of Iran's nuclear capabilities."
However, defense officials declined to provide information on the THAAD inventory due to operational security concerns, but said the Defense Department remains postured to respond to any threat. THAAD is a mobile system that can engage and destroy short, medium, and intermediate-range ballistic missiles both inside and outside of the Earth's atmosphere during their final phase of flight. Each battery is operated by 95 American soldiers, armed with 6 launchers and 48 interceptors. The interceptors are manufactured by Lockheed Martin and cost roughly $12.7 million, according to the 2025 Missile Defense Agency budget. The US military has 7 of those and plans to have an 8th active by 2025, according to the Congressional Research Service. Data available in 2019 showed that 5 of the US THAADs were stationed at bases in Texas, 1 in Guam and 1 in South Korea. By last year, the Pentagon had moved 2 of those batteries to the Middle East to protect Israel. 2 others were delivered to the United Arab Emirates and have been used to intercept Houthi militant ballistic missiles. According to the 2026 budget estimates from the Department of Defense last year, the US produced only 11 new THAAD interceptors and is expected to receive just 12 more this fiscal year. A defense official said,
The 2026 budget prioritizes funding in the defense industrial base, a core strategic asset that provides and sustains our military's technology, equipment, and supplies. The budget includes an additional $1.3 billion for industrial-based supply chain improvements and an additional $2.5 billion for missiles and munitions production expansion. The department's role is to ensure that the president is armed with the best possible military options for any scenario, and all options remain on the table.
The US also plans to acquire 37 THAAD interceptors next year, according to the 2026 Department of Defense budget estimates, financed partially by the latest addition to President Donald Trump's so-called Big Beautiful Bill.